Welcome to Cosmic Conscious Vibration, unlocking your inner universe with me, Reverend Dr. Kimmie and Dr. Pat. Are you on a personal journey of spiritual self-discovery? We provide practical ways to connect with your higher self to live a more meaningful life while deepening your connection to source consciousness. Learn the benefits of living a more mindful existence to reclaim your personal power. Join us as we explore insights to a deeper understanding of the nature of consciousness. Learn to listen better to your intuition and your heart's desires, putting you on a path of manifesting the life you are meant to live. The Cosmic Conscious Vibration Show is your catalyst for a consciousness revolution based on universal love and oneness. It all starts now.
I'm Dr. Pat, and as you've just heard, I get the honor of doing this show with Reverend Dr. Kimmie. Look, today is Vibrational Alchemy. What does this mean? How do you understand the power of beliefs? And then how can you use these beliefs to transform them to positive energy? And why would you want to do that? Well, you're going to hear that from Reverend Dr. Kimmie today, because if you don't do that, something else is going to take their place, right?
Exactly.
Well, great show today.
Yes. Yeah. This is one of those nitty gritty, like get down to the bones of what I'm trying to like enlighten people with. Because your core beliefs are magnets. They attract everything to you, and your core beliefs attract experiences, situations. And when people resonate with your energy, good or bad, vibration, good or bad, you're calling them right to your doorstep. And so if you don't address the beliefs that are holding you back, you're holding yourself back, because you're just going to be stuck and stagnant, and you have to evolve, Many beliefs are rooted in your subconscious. So sometimes you don't even know you're really thinking about them, but that's where like mindfulness and meditation comes into play, where you get to sit and truly listen to yourself and just, get that resonance between you and your spirit. And once you get that, you can start to examine, like when those beliefs come flying in your head, you put them in a box. You move it, you put it in a box. If it's negative, you put it in that box, because you are aware that they exist that way. If you're not aware, then you're running through life just blind.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's it's a thing.
Well, what I love about this topic today is that our beliefs, believe it or not, they're going to shape and direct our energy and our vibration. But
Mm-hmm.
Why does that matter? I mean, we now have enough evidence of why that matters. And so much has been said about the law of attraction, and so much has not been said about it.
Right.
One of the things that has not been said about it is, we're talking about changing our beliefs, changing the energy and changing the vibration. But what happens when you don't? You see, even if you got your vision board out there, like I pulled mine out the other day, my blank vision board, it's got like a light on it, it's painted gold. What is that? That's nothing. It's a vision board with nothing on it but a light. So what am I asking myself? Well, you don't have to do a vision board to understand the power of our beliefs. So let's take a look at what the beliefs do, because they're not just dangling out there doing nothing. They are directors, aren't they?
Yes. The law of attraction, as we know, states that everything's like for like. Whatever you put out, you're going to attract to. That's why I was saying earlier about magnets. You're pulling everything to you. So if we hold beliefs for our potential success and positivity, our vibration, our reality that we are putting out there is going to be more likely to attract similar qualities. Now, our beliefs can basically create cognitive bias. You're going to have this, so if like you're being positive, like you said, the vision board means nothing if it's not up here, right? So if you've got all these beliefs, you're like, yay, self-love, I'm doing my positive stuff. But internally, You haven't rectified those internal subconscious belief systems that you have been programmed from birth to into your, basically into your DNA. They're in there. If you don't deal with those, it doesn't matter, because you're not going to be calling truly what you want to you. You're going to be still attracting the negative stuff. So you have to get out of that mindset. You can be positive all day, but if you have that, and we all have moments. I mean, I'm not saying we don't have moments. We can have a moment of like, oh, woe is me. I mean, we're human, right? But don't let that rule your vibration. You have to go, I control my reality. I am a powerful creator. What I think, what I feel, I'm creating the reality that I want, what I want. Because that's your birthright. That is your cosmic birthright, to be able to have the life with abundance and, all the things that you want to do, what your soul wants in this life.
And I think that is a lesson that we have to remember. From as far as back as you go, desire has been in the forefront of who we are as human beings. Mm-hmm. And it's not that other beings who may or may not have consciousness, well, actually, we don't know. We just make stuff up because we don't know stuff. So we can't get in the brain of a dog. And so we make things up. But in our world, these beliefs can lead to tangible results. Let's talk about that next. I have a little stone here that I pulled out. You see what it says, everybody?
Prosperity.
On its backwards, prosperity. And it's great that I have this. Great. It's not enough. I can have this stone out, but what happens? I'm sitting here. How many of you are doing this? You wake up one day and you're like, oh, dang, I got an alert from my bank account, right? You don't even know what the alert is. You don't even look at it. But do you actually believe, not just at a core belief level, but at a secondary belief level, do you actually believe that if you want something, even if it sounds like you want a material thing, because this is a material world, what is the strength of that conviction? Isn't that what you're talking about? It's not just having a belief. It's
right.
Like, do I think I'm going to be the NCAA champion? Do I really think I'm going to be that? Or do I just like, oh, I think I'm going to be that?
It really is about you understanding and realizing how powerful you are. And this world tries to strip our power away in so many different ways. And on top of that, with this, because everything is in this materialistic type of vibration around us, even if we're the most positive person, we still all got to pay bills, right? But when you let that alert trigger a belief of lack, oh no, I don't have enough money. What's going on? You've started the ball rolling already, as opposed to like, oh, I got an alert, I'll check it later. You've got to get out of that lack and wishing for things. You have to, everything in the universe that you wants to be with you. Okay. But if you don't, so if you're saying like, I want, mind you, I want a sports car. Now, mind you, you have inspired action. You have to do something to get that. But that can be even with affirmations and interrupting that negative thought pattern of why do I deserve a nice car? And a lot of people, they have trouble interrupting the negative thought pattern. It's that rumination that you get. So that's where the mindfulness comes in, and being able to, raise your vibration, because you're taking care of the subconscious triggers that you may have. You're taking care of those negative beliefs. And then the things you're doing, like your vision board or your prosperity stone, those things have meaning because they have, there is what's the word I'm looking for? Oh man. Intuition.
I'll tell you what they have. That power.
Well, power.
Hello.
True. Yeah.
Hello. I mean,
intention. I don't know why the word intention.
Well, I'll tell you what happens with intention. When you have moved on to manifestation, intention takes a second seat. See, because you weren't talking about intention anymore. Let's just be really clear with everybody. Raise your hand if you don't think you deserve to have what you want. Now, come on, be honest now, because we're feeling you right now. Just even like eke it up a little bit. You see, because what we're asking is not, do you believe you can have one or two? No. Do you believe you can have everything you desire. Do you believe that?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
if you do, are you lukewarm? Are you a 1? Are you a 10? What are you? Because this is the key. This is the key. And there are stories that we could tell you about this. For example, there's a reason why Reverend Dr. Kimmie and I are sitting here today. I mean, we just didn't pop up. These things we're telling you about really work. They really
Mm-hmm.
work.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a big but, and that is the strength of that belief. Now,
Right.
what is it that it's literally like pouring? I used this the other day. It's pretty graphic. You ready? What
Okay.
is it that literally pours acid on your dream and your desire? I mean, that's graphic, but we're really clear because this is what
Yeah.
happens, right? And what you're talking about is you got to get in the game. And now let's talk about what we need to let go of, because there are things out of the gate that if we don't stop them now, they are going to spoil our party.
Right.
Everything from judgment to comparison. Tell us about the things that you know that we have to really be aware of so that we can do what you call reconstructing and creating these new neural pathways.
Well, like you mentioned judgment. That is a key one. Judging other people and comparing yourself to other people is detrimental to your vibration, detrimental to your mental health, because you're literally not sitting right with yourself. You're projecting what you think is wrong with you onto other people when you judge somebody. And on top of that, judgment is one. When you are wanting other people's approval, you're not being your authentic self because you're scared of what other people think
Yeah.
of you. So that's the other side of judgment. You're judging yourself, and then you're making, dimming your light, so to speak, and not, once you're your authentic self and you find that and you're able to just pull it out and just be who you are, you're going to notice that right there will change your vibration on another level. And then you can even go from there. So there's a lot of things. Let's see, what else? Oh, basically you're making self-fulfilling prophecies, because the more you just doubt yourself, the more you are in a vibration of lack. And a vibration of lack is not the vibration that gets you what you want. That's the vibration that pulls you more lack, more things you don't want, more worry, more constant ruminating of things, letting your mind wander on this path of inner
Yeah.
destruction that's going to be reflected in your environment. So,
Yeah. Okay. Let's just nail this right now for everybody. But before we do, Reverend Dr. Kimmie, before we go ahead and do this, I want to jump back. I want to talk about the self-fulfilling prophecy for a minute, because people have heard the term, but they don't really understand how deeply embedded in science this is in research. Okay. It was the one thing that was left out of the conversation of the law of attraction. It was also left out of The Secret. Of course, they didn't talk to you and me when they did that. But
right.
before we go on, how do people work with you? How do they find out more about you? What's your website, please?
My website is reverendrkimmie.com. So that is REVDRKIMMIE.com. All of my information is there, how to reach me, how to schedule a session, all of that. Even some blog posts, things you can read about, and even, my contact information, all of that. You can also reach me on most of all the socials too.
Yes. Okay. And this is why you want to contact Reverend Dr. Kimmie, because we're going through a time right now. We just had the eclipse. What a momentous event that was yesterday. I don't know if you all had time to watch it, but you don't need to. If you go to the NASA website, NASA, you'll see that they tracked this thing in every city it crossed. And what was fascinating about it, to even see the sun and the moon, how they interacted for this short period of time, how powerful that was. But what was even more interesting is the interpretation of what people thought that meant. And this is kind of the key. But self-fulfilling prophecy was Merton in, I think, 48, something like that, 1948 or something. He demonstrated this in a classroom. And later on, Merton got a lot of, what do you call it? They dissed Merton on a lot of this, but they were not wrong in looking at what he did and what he said. They were wrong in looking at whether or not this is true. It's a prediction that comes true because someone believes or expects it to come true. Boom. That's what it means. Self-fulfilling prophecy. I'll say it slower. I got a little Bronx accent going on here a minute. Sorry. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Ask yourself, are you doing this? Because this is about the show today. A prediction that comes true because someone believes or expects it to come true. What's a prediction? An intention. Can we just be clear, Reverend Dr. Kimmie? When you're saying the word intention, people don't realize that it's more than just, you're literally setting a predictive energy in motion. Now, I want to ask you this question, because we're talking about all the juicy stuff, what we want. But we walk around with tens of thousands of thoughts every day. And scientists and researchers say that I'm going to have to love that right now. That is such a good sign. I got to tell you, that is my good luck sign right there. But what I want to ask you about is this. We now know that this is not just a hoax.
Right.
So can we talk about what happens when we don't manage our thoughts? And what I mean by that, I'm going to love me some of that right now. And that is, I don't know if you know it, but that's a whole nother show we can do on how that became how the black cat became one of my totems. But here's the thing I want to say to you. We're sitting here and we're thinking, I'm listening to the show, but in the back, what's going on? Oh, dang, my bills are due on April 1st. I didn't pay them all. Oh, I don't know how. Oh, wait a minute. I just started a business and I owe $500,000. Oh, student loan. Oh, did I really need to buy the pizza? Can you talk about these thoughts for a minute that we don't really think about? They're just there, the power of them, and what we can do with intentional practices to change them.
Well, your thoughts are vibrations, and your thoughts, even if you don't say them out loud, affect your vibration. So that thinking pattern of negatives, that spiral that you go through, is going to affect you from when you wake up in the morning to when you go to sleep. So in order to change that, you have to do affirmations. You have to interrupt that negative cycle, because if you don't interrupt that negative cycle and those thought patterns, you're going to be out of balance with the universe, basically. Because if you want to have the things that you want, you need to be saying what you want in your head and out loud. And when you do mindfulness practices, that's how you get to identify what's really causing you to have those lack beliefs or those thoughts. You are able to make, kind of like, put a pin in it. Okay, I thought that. Why did that pop into my brain? Not every thought in your brain should be acted upon. But if you're in meditation or if you're in a mindfulness practice, you're able to understand, okay, my brain is thinking this thing, and then you're able to examine it deeper. So the whole point is to examine those negative beliefs deeper so you can replace them with positive beliefs.
I was watching one of the people I watch on TV. We all have our own spiritual practices, right? But I was watching this one person I watch all the time. And I was listening to one of his really old shows. And it was all about delete, hit the delete button. And really, he went through a whole series of dialogue on, oh, is this a thought? I can't pay my bill. Delete. Oh, I'll never get the love of that. Delete.
I like that.
Stuck in a dead end job. Delete. So he's saying, when you get into this, before we can build with affirmations, we have to do what you said. We have to interrupt.
I like
the negative thought patterns.
Those negative thoughts. I'm going to use
that. Come on now. Because we make this so complicated, but the way you're talking about it allows people to say, one, I'm aware, oopsie, I just had that thought.
Right.
Two, I'm aware I had that thought, but I did nothing about it. Or I could just say, delete. Go on, delete. See, can you imagine if that word delete has the power to stop that thought? Can you walk us through the power now to replace that?
That is powerful because, and I love the delete thing, control alt delete, but I love that. But when you're creating your own, when you're trying to correct the thought process and be more positive from inside out, right? Because, starts here and then it goes out. When you're doing that, it is a process. When you're doing that, you're creating neural pathways. I mean, you're literally rewiring your brain with positivity. So when you're starting to do it and you get into that habit, they say always it takes 30 days to make a new habit. It takes about 30 days to rewire your thinking. It's just a matter of putting in the work, wanting to, really change the negative beliefs. And once you're like, okay, I'm addicted to I'm set in the cause. I'm going to start changing my belief patterns. When you do that and you start saying them, you're going to be rewiring your brain. And when you create those new neural pathways and you start doing mindfulness practices and meditations, you're going to start seeing an outward change because your vibration internally is changing and you're going to start getting that stuff back. And then it's going to be a positive loop as opposed to a negative loop,
Yeah. Let's talk about this a little bit more because while it may take days, for example, I just want to be really clear. It's kind of like the old story about transformation. When we named the Transformation Network over 20 years ago, it was really interesting, some of the comments, right? One of them was, well, transformation takes minimally 10 years. I said, no, I don't know that. I mean, show me something that was ever written by a spiritual leader, anybody walking the planet. It doesn't matter what religious practice you have. Show me something where they showed that. And somebody came back to me. Oh my God, Reverend Dr. Kimmie. Somebody came back to me and said, what about Moses walking around for 40 years? I said, well, wait a minute. That has nothing to do with transformation.
Right.
The transformation takes 17 seconds, folks. I just want to be very clear what Reverend Dr. Kimmie and I are saying right now. It takes 17 seconds to flip the switch on that thought.
Oh, yes. Now the thought itself, definitely. Right.
Right. And if you do it in that same amount of time, you can take a different action. See, we don't put that together, but what you're saying is if we want to embed a new behavior, I mean, seriously embed the new behavior, right?
Right.
It's like anything. It takes time, but you can make that switch.
Oh, absolutely. Now. I mean, when I say 30 days, I mean, like literally, it's just a matter of that's the honing in process. But once you make the decision, no, I'm not going to listen to that thought. I'm going to do this over here. You can do that in the snap of your finger because it just takes that minute to go, no, I don't want to feel this way. I want to feel this way. This is where I'm going. I don't want to go backwards here. So yeah, that's true. Make sure that's clear.
And I mean, we've got a few minutes left here, but I want to be very clear. Your body knows.
Oh, yes.
Your body knows. It knows like when you are throwing that acid on your dream or your desire, your body knows. You know what your body does?
You'll feel it in your body.
Ooh, yes.
That's where anxiety comes from. When you have cognitive dissonance or some kind of negative thought, sometimes you feel it in your gut. You feel a pain in your heart. You feel a head pressure. A lot of that is because your body's trying to tell you, hello, this, we shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be thinking this. And your body's trying to tell you, but we're so trained not to listen to our body and think everything is medical. And some things are just about your own personal alignment, really.
It really is a process. And that's what we're talking about today. If you look at the back of my wall, when I created those glass pieces, it took me not very long to lay them out on a table, but the process to get them to be what they look like there, we had to heat it up. We had to get things going in the right place. It takes a process. Please, how can you help us today, all of us, understand what the next steps are, the process, and how do we get to work with you?
Well, you get to work with me. If you go to my website, you'll have all the information there. That is reverendrkimmie.com, REVDRKIMMIE.com. And all of it's there. As far as what we're talking about, we can go into depth about that if you want personal counseling. And I create your own, because everyone is different. Everyone's vibration is different. Everyone's soul purpose is different. So I work with you to make sure you're on your correct path. So.
All right, let's just talk about one last thing as we bring this full circle. Let's talk about belief transformation, if we could, and what your personal message is going to be for everybody today, because we are talking about belief transformation. We're talking about a process that can take you from a life of lack, a life of slack, a life of looking back to a new life, a life of forward movement, of looking ahead, of planning a future that's not based on the past. How do we do that? What's your personal message for us today?
My personal message right now on this really is we need to recognize that the transformation of our beliefs is a sacred bridge, if you will. It's a bridge of connecting our human experience with the transcendent, with our vibration to the universe as well. And it's an explore to get deep within our own consciousness and explore that and foster love, compassion, and awareness and the interconnectedness of everything that we have here in this universe. So once you get your vibration right, you're going to be more on a path of abundance and prosperity and personal fulfillment. You're going to be vibrating how you should be vibrating. And it's really about just raising your vibration to consciously and authentically become who you truly want to be. So I think that's really what it is about.
All right. One more time. What's your website?
Oh, ReverendDrKimmie.com. That's ReverendDrKimmie.com.
And for all of you out there, please take in what you've heard today. You know, the self-fulfilling prophecy, it's not just a negative thing. I mean, it's really put in negative life, but the reverse of it is also true.
Exactly.
You know, those things that we hold in our belief center, they manifest, whether they're good, bad, ugly, it doesn't matter. So you choose in this moment, you can make a conscious choice. Are you going to hold that thought that you will never achieve what you really want, or you will never get what you desire? What do we want them to do? Hit the delete button.
Control, Alt, delete that bad thought.
Yes. Thank you all for tuning us in. Thank you, Reverend Dr. Kimmie. Thank you for tuning us in. Thank you, Emily. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Cosmic Conscious Vibration, Unlocking Your Inner Universe. I'm Dr. Kimmie, and along with Dr. Pat, we have been discussing the nature of consciousness for ways to deepen your connection to Source. Join us on the second Tuesday of each month at 11 a.m. Pacific Time on Transformation Talk Radio, as we provide the information to assist you on your personal spiritual journey. You play an important role in the interconnectedness of all things. For more information on the benefits of living a more mindful existence, please visit www.ReverendDrKimmie.com. That's ReverendDrKimmie.com.